Welcome back. In this video, we're going to read and discuss some AITAs. I've got Reddit pulled up. Let's just jump right into it. This first one is a doozy. And I already have my mind read out before I even read it. You are an a-hole. But, let's read. AITA for not being comfortable with disabled characters in mine and my friends' D&D games. I've been playing D&D a lot with a friend of mine, Dungeons & Dragons. I'm with a friend of mine, both 24 male, in the past 4-ish years. Recently, we've been getting into arguments involving characters with disabilities. I said that I'm uncomfortable with characters having disabilities, and he doesn't accept it, and keeps pushing me to stop and to let his characters have disabilities. He isn't disabled in real life himself, for reference. This is the main point our fights are over. He calls me ableist for not wanting to interact with the characters he would play with disabilities. Last night, I was messing around with the new Microsoft AI Assistant preview and used it to create some character pictures. Some of them have small details with their hands that are off, like having one missing finger or having weird-looking flaps in between some of the fingers. I showed them to him, saying I'd like to play as them, and he blew up, telling me that I'm being hypocritical because they have disabilities. To be honest, I didn't realize the imperfections of the AI images until he pointed them out. That said, I wouldn't be playing them with having missing fingers or skin flaps, as that's not what I want for the characters. I had to go back to work. So I said I'd be back soon, and he went offline and is now refusing to talk to me. I feel I have a right to say that I'm uncomfortable with something when playing role-playing games with just the two of us. But he thinks I shouldn't dictate his characters like that, and I should get over it because people with disabilities exist in real life. I have absolutely no problem with disabled people in real life. It's just that in the fantasy games I have with him. AITA for asking to not have his characters have disabilities. What even was that story? We're starting off real crazy. You're an a-hole. What do you mean? What do you mean he can't design? It's a fantasy game. He could literally be things that exist or don't exist in any capacity. Like you're like tripping. You're trying to pretend like the whole point is, oh well, he's not disabled in real life, so why should you? That's not even your thing. Like you're just. What even is your thing? Why are you micromanaging to the point that somebody else can't put what they want in their own character? Like, I that makes me seem like you really are just that uncomfortable with seeing disabilities that you're trying to pretend like it has nothing to do with the disabilities, but it does. Like, what are you even on about? Like, why can't your friend have literally any character in any condition they want, pretty much, right? Like, why are you so uncomfortable? Why are, like, you didn't even explain anywhere in the story the actual reason why you are uncomfortable, so that again leads me to believe that you're just uncomfortable seeing disabled people. Like, you just don't want that. That's just not your version of a fantasy world? You know what I mean? But it's like weird to try to tell your friend he can't. I'm gonna go with YTA. I'm gonna scroll down and see what the other people think. I'm uncomfortable with characters having disabilities, that person quoted. YTA, so what? I'm uncomfortable with cold bloats eating me. Shit happens. That must be one of the characters. I'm not familiar with this game, obviously. I don't really do online gaming or anything, but like, YTA, you're uncomfortable with him playing with someone with prosthetics, like robot arms? Why? again, same thing. Like, you didn't explain why. So the only left explanation is that you just don't want to see it. It's just not what you view as fantasy, and that's icky. YTA, from your posts and comments, I don't think you're necessarily ableist, but it does sound like you have your own issues here that need to be worked out. I can understand the need for limits boundaries with playing D&D. Again, that's why I said, like, pretty much when I said your character can be anything, because they give there's some things that you wouldn't want to role play. I understand that, but just simply like having robot arms or like a disability or something, I don't know. It's like, obviously I'm not disabled, so if any disabled person would love to weigh in, like, is it disrespectful for a able-bodied person to like set their character up as disabled? Like, is that disrespectful? Should the player not be doing that? but it seems to me like they're not doing it like in a mocking type of way. They don't like do it and make the character look stupid. He just seems like he just wants to have a different kind of character. What, I don't know what the reasons are. The story's not very well explained, but it just doesn't seem like the reason for wanting a disabled character is out of any sort of malice. So therefore, why would you be against it? YTA, do you get uncomfortable with amputees? If your reasoning is, it doesn't make me feel comfortable to play a disabled character because I'm not disabled, then I can understand where you're coming from. But do realize able-bodied can make a disabled character right as long as they represent it properly. There's no problem with it. You just can choose not to play this character, then I make a big fuss about it. Again, I'm trying to like scroll here. I would love to like hear from someone who is disabled. Like from me, who's not disabled at all, it doesn't seem like as long as you're trying to just be respectful about it, as long as you're not trying to be disrespectful about it, then it seems fine. But like you let me know, like is that kind of wrong to put your character as disabled if you're not disabled? But like shouldn't we, I kind of think about it in the same way that like the way that straight people maybe say partner to represent like a boyfriend, like a female saying partner to represent a boyfriend, in a way of like trying to normalize this word of partner. Because right now I feel like with that example, like if someone says partner, like you're basically announcing that you are in fact gay or whatever. You know, I know there's lots of options nowadays, but you're basically announcing that to everyone to say partner. But I feel like don't we kind of want to normalize it where everyone's saying that so that it doesn't really mean anything and that it just means like the person that I partner with. So I kind of feel like it's maybe the same here, right? It's like, don't we want as much representation as long as it's respectful as I say we, God, that was a misspeak. Like, don't disabled people in general want more representation, even if it's like from allies rather than people who are like actually a part of it? Pretty much everybody's saying YTA. Let's move on to another one. AITA. Basic argument with husband or emotional abuse? Ooh. Ugh. Hopefully this one's not too deep and dark. I, 35 female, and my husband, 28 male, have been married for 6 months, together for 8 years. I struggle with ADHD and find basic tasks like cleaning difficult. For the past few weeks, I have been asking my husband to help me clean the bathrooms as I've been struggling to be able to do it. I've explained a few times to him that it's also really stressing me out, hence asking for help. I want to add quickly that he is fantastic with housework and normally does a lot. Around 2 weeks of asking for help, I told him that I was a bit upset that he didn't help me out or mentioned it or even responded at the last few times I'd asked for help. He proceeded to get very angry with me, yell, and call me lazy, and storm off. After a while, I sent him a message saying that he cannot speak to me like that and that he needs to speak to me respectfully without calling me names or swearing. He responded by saying that he did not care and basically said my life was a shit show. I responded by saying I would not tolerate being spoken to like that. It's been 24 hours now and he's not spoken to me. He slept in the spare room and we have not even seen each other. I just don't think I've done anything wrong here and sent another message earlier explaining why I am hurt. He responded by saying that he hates me and that I never do any housework. I'm really struggling because this is how our fights typically go, and I just feel like I can't do it anymore. I don't feel heard, and he often reacts in anger when I try to raise my feelings or communicate that I am upset about something. This argument is one of many with the same outcome / process. I feel like I have no clarity on if I've done something wrong here. I keep second guessing myself. Am I the a-hole for raising these feelings? Extra detail: husband has an avoidant attachment style and prefers to message when we are arguing. Personally hate this, but often we do it as I don't get anywhere otherwise. Husband typically would do more cleaning than I do. However, I do all the cooking, meal planning, and planning our social lives, birthdays, and stuff. That does sound like emotional abuse, girl. Like, if he has an issue with you not doing enough of the housework, or if you being, too stressed out too often over things. Like, I get, like, ADHD can really easily overwhelm you. And that doesn't necessarily have to be anybody else's problem if they don't choose to like want to participate in helping you deal with the difficulties of your ADHD from day to day. But the thing is, if they choose that they don't want to participate in that, it needs to be chosen and communicated respectfully. To just like blow up and go crazy all of a sudden like that's kind of crazy. For one, okay, I'm sorry, I don't even know where to begin because there's so many things. So let's just like start at the fucking beginning of the paragraphs. It's like, for you to have to go weeks and weeks and asking and asking and asking, and him not just either and later on you kind of explain why with the avoidant attachment, which honestly run. But honestly, if you've been asking for weeks and he's purposely avoiding that topic, that's a serious problem. If he's come to a conclusion that no, I'm not going to help you, and actually I'm a little frustrated that you're yet again overwhelmed. I don't know if that's valid. I don't know how often she gets overwhelmed or whatever, but if it's above however much he can tolerate, that's fine. That he would be like, okay, I can't be constantly dealing with someone who's overwhelmed. That's perfectly fine, but he needs to say it appropriately and not be avoiding that for like weeks and weeks and weeks until it festers into something big where you're like, bro, now you're mad. Now he's been mad this whole time. Now we've got a big issue where 2 weeks ago you could have just said like, look, this is kind of an issue for me. Let's talk about it. Avoidance is really, really a big problem. Like, just even if it's uncomfortable, like, just get it out of the way. Why would you be uncomfortable for weeks on end only to end in a fight instead of just being uncomfortable for a little bit, having a talk, and then going back to comfortability? Also I was gonna ask, like, what do you mean messaging? He literally is just sleeping. He completely, like, you literally don't even exist while he's mad at you. Like, he's literally in the other room. Like, you don't. What? Bye. Girl, you need. I need a red flag, dude. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Avoidant attachment. He prefers to message when we're arguing. No. I understand that, like, every once in a while things might get to a heated level where you're like, whoa, okay, hold on, let's just both like take a few minutes and go calm or whatever, and like take your breath and calm down and get some perspective, whatever. That should be relatively short. There should always be that time where you come back and you're like, okay, now that we've calmed, let's like keep talking about this and figure it out, right? Like, the whole avoiding constant and getting angry. And where did you say that too? It's like, he reacts in anger anytime I try to raise feelings or communicate that I'm upset. That's like, that's screaming narcissist to me. And I think for me to say that honestly kind of means a lot. Like, I think the word narcissist and women calling men narcissists is like so overblown and so over exaggerated today. But that seems like narcissistic behavior to me, to literally be angry that someone is communicating their feeling to you, to feel like attacked just because I'm telling you that, like, oh, something has happened that I don't particularly vibe with. Like, why so defensive? Like, why? You know what I mean? I don't know. To get, like, that's just impossible. Like, that's not adult behavior. That's not a stable relationship. You're never going to come to any conclusions about anything because he's just mad. Like, you know what I mean? It's like anytime you try to have a discussion, he gets mad. There's never going to be any discussion, period, because he just gets mad every time. Let's scroll down and see the comments here. I'm going with YTA. I get that husband could have reacted better, and the yelling indicates a need for better communication, but not cleaning the bathroom because of ADHD is a crap excuse. Or just asking for help is what the kids do when they need to clean their room and want me to do it all. I have ADHD and also struggle with stuff like this, but when I need support, I ask for things like a list of tasks to ensure I don't miss anything, or more precise requests that can't be easily misled or interpreted. But I don't shirk my responsibility, and I never blame my ADHD for not doing chores. These people, this commenter is basically saying, like, weaponizing competence on the side of the female. Again, I'm not gonna like go too far into that because I think that's a little bit aside the point. It's like, if she's not doing that well mentally and she's becoming too overwhelmed with things and can't complete basic tasks and all that, that is an issue, but it's not the issue here. The issue here is that when you see your partner becoming overwhelmed, being unable to do regular tasks, etc., that makes you angry with them. Instead of, I feel like really the only two options should be either like, really there's only one option, but that one feeling can go either. You need sympathy for that person, but that sympathy can come with sympathy for them and for you, and be like, I do feel for them, but I am not capable of like supporting them and stepping away and communicating that to them respectfully and stepping away. Or again, like feeling for them, sympathetic, and deciding to stay and help. There's no anger. Nothing about that should anger you. You know what I mean? It's only sympathy, and that either causes you to step away or lean in. There should be no anger about it. But most people are saying YTA because planning your social life is not housework. Jesus Christ. Everybody thinks YTA, but I'm kind of against that. I really feel like his reaction was inappropriate. ESH. It sounds like you should find some new ways to manage your ADHD, because I'd be angry too if I did almost all the housework already and then got into a standoff for 2 weeks about cleaning the bathroom. But here's the thing, the standoff for 2 weeks was really on him, because he didn't just say, no, honestly, your lack of accountability and you pushing things off with ADHD is frustrating me, and I do not accept to take up this bathroom responsibility. It was avoidance. That's like, I think everybody's kind of missing that. ESH, but him more so for his anger issues and the horrible "I hate you" comments. Why did you two get married? Why it's not a good match? You all need a divorce like yesterday. ADHD can be managed. You are capable of cleaning the bathroom and doing other household chores. I promise you there's videos about this somewhere. Obviously his reaction is completely inappropriate, and he needs to work on communicating. I can't believe you got married and considering this is how your fights typically go. Yeah, again, I'm more with that, where it's like, everybody's the a-hole here, because, right, again, like I said, it's like you need to manage your own mental shortcomings and figure out how to just do your basic tasks in life. But for him to just lose it and scream and get angry at you, it's like, it honestly seems like the classic case of like a narcissist pairing with someone who is like, has a lack of self-confidence, right? It seems to me like people with a lack of self-confidence tend to be drawn towards narcissists, because we see that as like confident, but I think we like misconstrue what confident is, because we don't really know it all that well ourselves, so it can sometimes fool us into thinking that that's what confidence is, and you're attracted to that confidence, because I think like a lot of times people are attracted to like the opposite traits in you, because you're trying to like balance out your negatives with their positives a lot of the times in relationships. I feel like that's like what makes, a relationship a good team, is when you balance out like that. So you want to kind of balance opposites like that as best you can. But sometimes that can lead to, like, if you're looking at it and thinking it's confidence when really it's like above that, and it's really like narcissism, then it can be confusing. Let's move on to another one here. AITA for telling my boyfriend, my close friends and family will always come first. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, but like, are you dating someone without the expectation that they will become close friends and fam? So that seems like a weird thing to say, that you're always going to be next, even when you are close friends and fam. My other close friends and fam will come first. I don't know. Let's read the story. As always, my opinion probably will change. I've been dating this guy for about a year, and throughout our entire relationship, he is always talking crap and belittling my friends and my cousin. I've heard enough. Opinion is locked in. On occasion, he would talk about how horrible of a mom I have, and then I have to get new friends because he doesn't like them. Before getting into a relationship with this guy, I specified that my close friends and family will always be my top priority and will come first. He didn't like this and would get upset anytime I had to remind him about it. He disliked one of my friends because they are non-binary and gay. He disliked another friend because that friend used to have a thing for me and just didn't like that I was friends with someone that used to like me. The argument that ultimately led to our breakup was because he was trying to start a fight with the friend I liked that liked me, and I just had enough of him always having something against my friends. I don't want to continue letting my friends and family be talked down to by some guy that really isn't worth my time. After our breakup, he talked bad about me to everyone he knew, and to this day, his mom still hates me for playing with her innocent little son's emotions. You put that in quotes, but I don't think that was a quote, though. The mom literally said playing with my innocent little son's emotions. Even though he was the one that was being toxic and I never said anything bad to him or did anything to hurt him. There was so much more that happened during the relationship and also led to the breakup, but this story is getting long enough. So AITA, edit, just to clarify, I was 15 at the time and he was my first boyfriend. I am imagining just by how this is written that you're still probably only like 16 or something, because this is clearly like a young-minded person, most likely. But no, why? Not NTA at all. NTA at all. If he's not vibing with you, your friends, and your fam, that's a pretty big problem. That's a really big problem. Now I'm not saying that like just because your fam doesn't like him means to immediately dump or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, if a person is like kind of going almost out of their way to be at odds with your friends and family like that, I just kind of don't see it working out. You know what I mean? Let's go down and see what the people. For an adult relationship, what you did would be very wrong. For a teenage relationship, which it seems like, that it's fine. You just ultimately shouldn't have been in a relationship with him at all. And it was on you to make that realization. This is the best answer. I was ready to say YTA until I read about ages and behaviors. But as a learning point for the future, it should be noted that if a relationship is healthy, at some point, the spouse should be the number one priority. Right, so I guess, see, that's what I was, like, that's where I was. My first opinion was, like, you seem like an a-hole, because you should be, like, prioritizing your relationship to be a friend and family type of thing. But given that these are, like, young, clearly, again, 15, she clarified, she was literally only 15. No, you probably shouldn't be planning marriage with the man or with the boy or anything like that. At that age, that drastically changed my opinion to NTA pretty quickly. ESH, his behavior was obviously toxic, but I strongly urge you to consider what motivation your future partners will have to stay with you if you're telling them up front that they are not going to be a priority. Again, I think that really doesn't count as much because she's so young. This might go against the grain, but yeah, you kind of the asshole. It's okay to set boundaries and expectations for a relationship the way you did, but it was kind of mean because you basically told a potential partner that they would never be a priority for you. Right, and I was definitely thinking that too. Definitely don't go into a relationship being like, oh, by the way, you're never going to be important. Sorry. But also, like, maybe she's just being darn realistic and honest, because at 15, you're not gonna be a priority ever, and let's just be honest. I don't know. I think we'll probably close the video out there. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like that video, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up down below. Subscribe while you're hanging out down there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.